Perfect. Okay, once again, welcome everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Dhruv Raval. I represent Indus Travels, and we'll be talking about this amazing Discover Japan trip that we have planned in collaboration with the Conyers Rockdale Chamber of Commerce. The trip is set to depart on July 15th of 2027, so just under a year from now. Hopefully, you're excited about this. Now, before we start and jump on the trip itself, just a little bit about Indus Travels. We have been in the industry for about 25 years now. We started off in 2001. We are an award-winning tour operating company with offices in North America and highly rated on independent rating agencies like Triple B or FIFO, and we are licensed to operate out of US and Canada both. So what that means for you is if you have any friends or family who would like to join on this amazing trip with the Chamber of Commerce, you are actually able to invite them, welcome them. We will be able to assist them in booking a flight from their nearest airport. It does not have to be from Atlanta. So yeah, again, as long as it's somewhere between US and Canada, we are able to assist them as well. And that's one of the benefits of being a privately owned independent business. Now, Conyers Rockdale Chamber has been planning trips for years now. If you have not been on any of their trips, you don't even know what you're missing out on. There's a lot of benefits of group travel, especially when it's organized by your local Chamber of Commerce. If honestly, if I start talking about that, that's going to be super long. I don't really don't want to do that. So just these are the top three that really, in my head, kind of makes group travel totally worth it, which is safety, which is numbers. Effectively, when you're traveling in a group, you have that sense of safety where you're not worried about what's going on around, and you are able to just kind of focus on creating some amazing memories. The coverage. So as we talk more about the trip, you'll realize that there's a lot of research that actually goes into that and figuring out what to see, what not to see, how to get from point A to point B, and things like that. That's a lot of work and something that you would have done by yourself if you were traveling alone. But because you're traveling with your Chamber of Commerce, we have done the legwork for you so you don't have to. And the way we have designed these itineraries is that it really covers anything and everything that the destination has to offer, just to make sure that you're able to kind of cover everything that it has. And last but definitely not the least is the cost advantage of it. I mean, there's strength in numbers. We actually use that to negotiate some really great prices, and you end up getting the benefit of the same as well. Now here, I would like to go with assumption that you have not been to Japan before. It is such a fascinating country. Like there's a lot of fun facts and whatnot about Japan. And obviously you will experience that once you go there and see that with your own eyes. But just to kind of get you a little bit pumped up about it, I wanted to share some really interesting facts and figure about Japan. I mean, the number of international visitors to Japan has been rising exponentially. I mean, 2024 already broke the record with like 36 million visitors in that year itself. And that was a record by itself. Now, 2025 surpassed it. And that went up to 40 million visitors on that year. And by the looks of it, 2026 will be breaking 2025 record as well. So, yeah, I mean, you're riding the wave, and there's a lot of interest for that, and it's for a good reason, and you'll find out once you get there. Now, Japan's public transportation system, for example, it's notorious for its punctuality. The trains are so timely that even a delay by just a minute or two can actually warrant like a formal apology from the service provider. And you probably have seen videos of that like on YouTube or on social media and whatnot, that they would actually announce and apologize for being late by like a minute or so. But that also means that you would also be expected to be on time, especially when using these transportation per se. And the etiquettes of Japan is extremely important. They are a bit of a stickler for that. I mean, there's a reason I included this picture of the noodles here. Did you know that it's actually polite to slurp your noodles? Stuff like that. And it's actually considered polite. I mean, they would actually like that. It would make them seem that you're actually enjoying it so much. It's kind of an appreciative gesture, so to speak, and whatnot. And also, finally, Japan is also famous for its immaculate gardens, some of which you will be visiting as a part of this itinerary. Now, if you're a bit of a foodie and you like trying exotic like Oriental cuisines and whatnot, this is going to be one hell of a trip for you. There are various authentic Japanese dishes that you can try, some of which we obviously got to get here in North America, but the taste is kind of modulated based on the preferences of North Americans. But sushi, obviously, who doesn't like it? I mean, no, there are actually people who don't like it. I'm not one of those. I love it. So you'll get to try some there. There is like udon noodles that are like thick, chewy, traditionally made from wheat flour and brine water. And that can be served with like soybeans and some meat and all of that. There's miso soup, which is a combination of miso paste, which is a very traditional Japanese food, made from fermented soybeans, and dashi broth, as they call it. Excuse me. And this is actually something that they actually have for breakfast and lunch and dinner. It's like really, really popular out there. And finally, if you want to have some drinks, sake is really, really popular there. People kind of meet up in the evening to enjoy like a sake or two. So I would strongly recommend everyone to try that out if you drink. It's brewed from rice and water and koji mold as the main ingredients, and it's quite hot, so to speak. Now, even not just about the food and everything, even there's a lot of other aspects of Japanese culture. For example, when you meet or enter somebody's home, you kind of remove your shoes as a sign of respect, to keep this indoor space clean. And I think I have actually seen that in a lot of the Asian countries. If you've been to like China, Vietnam, India, Japan. I mean, the Asian countries are all the same, where they kind of keep their footwear outside to keep the indoor space clean. The greetings are often given with a bow, ranging from a slight nod to a deep bend of the waist, depending on how much respect you're supposed to give to the other person based on their age or their position and whatnot. But since you're like a foreigner, just a nod or a slight bow would be acceptable. When you have the Japanese tea ceremony that turns a simple act of serving tea into an art, that is one of the highlights of Japan. It's a practice movement that a lot of the guests kind of really really appreciate. And then you have the beautiful art of origami that again a lot of people have mastered. I've tried to learn it. I did learn it, forgot it now because I don't practice anymore. But it kind of really showcases their creativity by folding paper into flowers and animals and all sorts of forms and whatnot. So quite creative. But yeah, enough about Japan in general, like just fun facts. I'm gonna dive right into the actual trip that we have planned, which is, like I said, scheduled for departure on July 15th of 2027. It's a 12-day trip, including your travel time. All in all, so you'll be flying in and out of Atlanta. We'll be covering cities like Tokyo, Hakone, Takayama, Kanazawa, Kyoto, Osaka, and Atlanta. You see what I was talking about earlier? Like we have done all the research and all of the must-see cities or towns that you should hit when you're traveling to Japan. We have covered that already. And for a price point of $53.99, it's actually a steal of a deal. It's amazing. And this is for per person on double occupancy. So if you're like a couple, for example, traveling together, then each of you pays $53.99, in which case you're basically sharing the room. If you do not want to share the room and you would rather be by yourself as a solo occupant in all of these hotels that we have booked for you, there's an additional single supplement charge of $13.99 that you pay on top of $53.99, in which case, obviously, you're still part of the same crew, but you're just by yourself in all of these hotels that we have booked. All right. Now, if you're wondering what does that price of $53.99 gets you, that includes your round-trip airfare from Atlanta, 10 nights of accommodation on all of these hotels, your daily buffet breakfast at the hotel. There is one dinner that has been included, which means there is like room for you to check out some local restaurants, follow your nose, and be able to explore on your own as well as far as food is concerned. Your arrival and departure transfers to and from the airport in Tokyo and Osaka is also included in a private bus. Um, Again, there's a lot of the cities that will be traveling through a private bus, so that's included. English speaking tour guide is also included from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Apparently, Japan has very stringent laws on how long a certain driver or a tour guide can work in a day. So the way we have kind of designed these itineraries is also keeping their local laws in mind, so that we're not violating any of their regulations and whatnot. Should any of the places included in the package has any entrance fees, that's included. Any air taxes, fuel surcharges, all of that is included. I mean, especially given the current climate where the fuel has kind of shot up to the sky, because we had already booked this trip well in advance with the chamber, so you're not getting any effect of it per se. So effectively, what's not included is things of personal nature. For example, trips and gratuities. It's very subjective. You can decide that once you get there. Any optional tours, which is not a part of the package, that would be clearly mentioned as optional, which you can sign up for based on your areas of interest. We have by default included one check-in baggage. If you wanted a second one, you let us know, and charges may be applicable, and then we can check with the airline and let you know. My personal recommendation would be to travel light, just so that you're not spending a lot of time packing and unpacking. And plus, you want to keep some space to bring back some souvenirs and whatnot. And should any of you would be, let's say, a frequent traveler, you have a lot of points and you want to book your own flights, you do have an option to be able to do that, in which case you will be responsible to arrange your transport to the hotel when you land in Tokyo, and also when you're coming back from Osaka. Just because, I mean, again, I guess if you book the flight, if your flight hours is more or less the same as the rest of the group, you are more than welcome to join, and get into the coach that we would have arranged for the rest of the group. But in case your flights are like very off compared to others, then you're just basically left with handling the transportation on your own, but the local person would be more than happy to help you out with that if required. Now, your day one is going to be very, very straightforward, where you basically just get yourself to the Atlanta airport and then we head to Tokyo. Now, I'm not sure if we have a direct flight from there. Most likely not. If we had, that would have been like almost 15-hour flight. So just be prepared for like a fairly long journey, stretch your legs and all of that, um, grab a book and whatnot. But because of the time difference and whatnot, by the time you arrive in Tokyo airport, that's going to be day two. Like I said, there will be someone waiting for you to meet and greet at the airport. We'll get you into a very comfortable AC deluxe vehicles and get you checked in into the hotel. Usually the check-in time, and just like for the rest of the world, is usually about 2 in the afternoon. And early check-in may be available based on availability, but we'll cross that bridge once we get there. But otherwise, we haven't scheduled anything on this stage just because we don't know what time you might be arriving. And secondly, you see it's a relatively long journey, so you might be tired. We didn't want you to indulge into an activity that you may not enjoy to the best just because you're tired. So just acquaint yourself to the climate, the time zone, and all of that, and rest up. If you do not want to do that, obviously you have some options around the hotel that you can take a stroll for and maybe check out some restaurants and whatnot. But day three is when all the fun stuff begins. We have included your Tokyo City tour with an English-speaking tour guide as a part of your package. Now, again, I don't want to do their job. I don't want to spoil everything for you. This session is supposed to be like a trailer of a movie, if you will, right? So I'm just going to give you like a brief snapshot of what to expect. So all of the must-see places in Tokyo would be covered as a part of your city tour on this day. You'll be seeing the Torii Gate, and you'll be going to the tranquil forest surroundings. You want to go to the Meiji Jinju museum, which kind of really gives you a glimpse of the rich cultural heritage of Japan. We'll be going to the Sikuji outer fish markets. If you like seafood, if you're like a seafood lover, I think this would be like one of those highlights of the day. And then on that place, like that market or bazaar, it actually has close to 400 shops and restaurants. in that market. And then obviously there's like a lot of seafood, there's snacks, there's cooking ingredients and all of that. We'll be going to the Imperial Palace and whatnot, all of that. Now, this city tour, it's like a half day city tour more or less. So should be like maybe 3 hours or 4 hours, give or take. You know, you will have the second half of the day at leisure, which means if there was a certain place that you like more than the others, you want to go back there, you have some time there. If you want to just go shopping, you'll have some time on this day in the second half. Similarly, day four is at leisure as well. So this is a free day where you have the flexibility to explore the city. Japan apparently has like a lot of shopping malls and whatnot. Even the electronics over there is supposedly even cheaper than what we get here in North America, in the US or Canada. So if you're planning on buying like a new phone and whatnot, I think this could be like a really good trip to buy it from, right? So again, you can go to some of the famous landmarks that we have covered already, um, or go shopping. I think that would be a great way. On day five, after you have had your breakfast, we'll be checking out of the hotel. We'll be meeting your local tour guide in the hotel lobby, and we'll be going on this road trip to unforgettable journey to Mount Fuji. It's one of the most iconic places, not just in Japan, but around the world. You've probably seen it in like tons of movies and whatnot. So it's actually Japan's most photographed mountain and possibly the most camera shy. We'll be driving to Fuji Five Lakes region where you can enjoy like a peaceful cruise on Lake Kawaguchi, where you can admire the Mount Fuji's reflection on that lake, as you can see in this picture right here. From there on, we'll be going for a Mount Fuji panoramic ropeway up Mount Tenjo for the sweeping views of the lake and the Mount Fuji by itself standing tall in the distance. From there, we'll be going to the Arakurayama Sengen Park, which is one of the most iconic pagoda out there. It's just the spot responsible for filling half of the Japan's postcards. Like, I mean, and once you get there, you'll see why. The shots that you get from this park, it's just next level. And from there, we'll be going to the Oshinohakai, which is a charming village with crystal clear spring ponds, before heading to Hakone, which is where we'll be spending the night and just going to rest up and whatnot. They do have like hot springs over there and whatnot. So if that's something that you want to do, yeah, you want to plan it on this day. Now, on day six, after you have had your breakfast, we'll be going to the Odawara station, which is in Hakone. So we'll be checking out of the hotel. We're just basically spending the night there. From there, we'll be going on the bullet train, as they call Shinkansen in Japanese, the bullet train, to Nagoya Station, which is not that long of a journey. It's just about an hour and 20 minutes approximately. And then from there, we'll be transferring to express train bound for Takayama Station, which is going to be another under 3 hours ride approximately. And once you arrive in Takayama, we'll be meeting a guide and a driver over there. We'll be taking you to the hotel. And because it's, again, a bit of a journey, we haven't planned anything on this day. So you do have like more or less like half a day at leisure. So if you wanted to check out the city, the town by yourself, you are able to do so. If not, we will be covering that the next day anyway. Like, for example, on day seven, after your breakfast, we'll be kicking off the day at the Takayama's famous morning market. They have stalls which are like full of fresh produce, handmade crafts, some snacks. So, you know, if you want to munch on something while you're buying things. So yeah, you want to forget about self-control. That should be a foreign word for this trip for you, right? Next, we'll be going to the bright red Nakabashi Bridge, which is a spot so pretty that even your selfie will feel underqualified. Like, especially in spring, when the cherry blossom season is like out and cherry blossom is out, it's basically nature's Instagram filter, if you will. Then in the afternoon, after you have had some time to kind of enjoy your lunch, we would be going to the Kusakabe Folk Museum, which is it was once home to a wealthy Edo period merchant family, proof that rich people have been showing off fancy homes for centuries now. You'll be getting an insight into that. And towards the end of the day, we'll be going to the Kami Sanumachi, Takayama's old town, if you want to say that in English. with historic streets, some antique shops, and sake breweries. It's like stepping back in time, except for snacks that weren't invented in the 1600s, in the Edo period, I guess, and comfortable shoes. So that's your day seven. On day eight, after you have had your breakfast, we'll be going on this 1 hour scenic drive to Sharakawa Go, which is like a storybook village almost, settled, nestled in the peaceful mountain valley. Step into the world of tradition and charm. They have a lot of nice farmhouses, especially that's made to kind of withstand heavy snow, which they get a lot of in the season, and the landscape that it creates is just straight out of some sort of a Disney movie or something. And then you can visit to the Wada House, which is again one of the largest and best preserved traditional homes in the village. So like I said, you want to slip off your shoes and wander through the living quarters, the guest room, the Buddhist altar room, just to get a sense of like how their daily life kind of looked like centuries ago. From there, we'll be going to the Sharakawa Go observation deck for a breathtaking panoramic view of the entire village, and that is one of the most perfect photo opportunity to capture the full beauty of this UNESCO World Heritage Site. From then, we'll be going to Kanazawa, just to delve deeper into the local life. We'll be going to one of the museums there. We'll be going to a farmhouse just to kind of see how the original style kind of looked like. And then from there, we'll be also getting a chance to look at some local rural crafts and customs and architecture, and all of this with an English speaking tour guide, right? So you know exactly how they did things. Towards the end of the day, we'll be going back to the hotel. You rest up. On day nine, we'll be going on a peaceful stroll through the Karanukian Garden. This picture right here, you can see how tranquil it looks even just in the picture. Imagine how it would look when you're there in real life. This is actually one of the Japan's three great gardens. You enjoy some serene ponds, some elegant bridges, and again, a lot of the movies are actually shot in this garden. From there, we'll be going to the 21st Century Museum of Contemporary Art, and from there, we'll be going to the reconstructed Kanazawa Castle, which was like a samurai stronghold with white plaster, as you can see in this picture right here, and sturdy gates and all of that. From there, we'll be going to the Kanazawa station to board your Shinkansen. So that's the second bullet train ride back to Kyoto. So you just want to sit back and relax and enjoy this fast but smooth ride to Japan's cultural heart, which is Kyoto. So on day 10, after breakfast, we'll be going on this tour of Kyoto, which is included as a part of your package. We'll be going to the Arashiyama, which is Kyoto's most iconic districts. First stop would be Jojako Temple, which is perched on the hillside with mossy paths and rustic pagoda. It's so peaceful that you might just even forget that Wi-Fi even exists over there. From there, we'll be going to the bamboo grove. They're called the Sagano Bamboo Grove. This picture right here, again, you probably would have seen it in Google Images or some movies and whatnot. It's absolutely beautiful. We'll be going there. From there, we'll be going to the Yakabutin, which is a boat ride along the Hazugawa River, taking the views of this iconic bridge that you see in this picture right here. But you'll be paddling, just so you know, so long as you're able to do that. Okay, sorry, I was just kidding. You don't have to paddle. You just sit back and relax and just pretend you're a Japanese, like in some Japanese movies and whatnot, and just enjoy the scenic view that you'll get from the river. From there, we'll be going to the railway station, which is also very scenic, as you can see in this picture right here. It has some really lush valleys and river gorges and whatnot, and you'll feel that breeze in your hair and your breath and whatnot. And then this is back from like 19th century and whatnot. So this is going to be amazing. Like this whole day is just going to be one of the most fun-filled day of your trip. Day 11 is not going to be any less. Once you have had your breakfast, we'll be going to the iconic landmarks that we would have missed out on the day before. We will be covering that on this day. So first, we'll be going to the Kikajuji Golden Pavilion, which is so shiny. that it basically says, "Oh, I woke up like this," and surrounded by some reflective pond and manicured gardens. It's like, again, Instagram ready before you even take a photo. Then from there, we'll be going to the Fushimi Inari Taisha, which is famous for its thousands of bright vermilion torii gates winding up Mount Inari. Walking through them is truly mesmerizing. And it's a good reminder that, sometimes the path to enlightenment is just a lot of steps. And as you can see in this picture right here, it's absolutely gorgeous. From there, we'll be going to Osaka. So this is going to be like a bit of a road trip. Osaka is it's more of a city, right? It's the energetic hub of food and commerce. The first step would be the Osaka Castle that we'll be covering on this day. From there, we'll be going to the white walls and green roofs that they have and whatnot. From there, we'll be going up to the Osaka's shopping district, which also has like a lot of shopping malls. There's like a food stalls and whatnot. There's local boutiques and everything. And from there, we'll be more or less counting the end of our trip. This is practically your last day. So in case you're left with, any shopping for souvenirs or gifts for your loved ones and your family back home, this is the last day that you'll be able to do that, because on day 12, after you have had your breakfast, we'll be dropping you off at the Osaka airport for your flight back home. Now, if you have a Canadian or a US passport, you don't really have to worry about this. There's no visas required. Just make sure that your passport is valid for at least 6 months from the date of your return. Mind you, what I'm saying, I don't mean the date of your departure. So not July 15th or what that was, but from the date of your return. It has to be valid for 6 months after. So if your passport is expiring anytime before that, you do have plenty of time between now and your departure to renew your passport. Again, if you have been taking a lot of trips with the Conyers Rockdale Chamber of Commerce, and if you do not have any blank pages left in your passport for the immigration officer to stamp on, this is also another excuse for you to renew your passport. But just please make sure it's, you know, travel ready, let's just say. Okay, the weather over here, it's going to be very pleasant. I mean, again, depending on your definition, right? I'm actually located in Toronto. So for me, this is absolutely perfect. You're looking at an average of 73, a high of 79, and a low of 68, which is just perfect. Uh, there is chances of rainfall, so you may want to pack accordingly, maybe like a poncho, or you can just buy one over there. So maybe like a small jacket and a cap and whatnot. Just make sure you have comfortable walking shoes, because you'll be seeing like a lot of places and you want to be able to kind of walk for like at least a couple of hours and whatnot. So make sure you have that. This is how the plug points kind of looks like in Japan. So they use type A and type D. If you have like one of those international adapters, you don't even have to worry about all of those things. I've had one for about a decade now. Really helps me. So if you're planning on joining all of these chamber trips, I would highly recommend that you buy one of those. I mean, you can easily buy that off Best Buy or Amazon and whatnot, and it's a pretty good investment, as a traveler. The currency over there, it's why does it say Canadian? Interesting. Uh, so that's 114 Canadian. So for US, I'm sure it would be about 120, 125 or so. It doesn't fluctuate too much, historically speaking, but you never know. I mean, the currency exchange rate could change, so you can always check that just before you travel. Although there's like plenty of ATMs in Japan, especially in these bigger cities like Osaka and Tokyo and Kyoto and things like that. Even in those smaller towns, I'm sure you wouldn't have any issues. Plus, you will be with a local tour guide. So if you still need local currency and cash, he or she would be more than happy to help you out and guiding you to a bank or some exchange shop for you to be able to do that. So you don't have to worry about it. I did mention shopping a few times. If you're wondering what to buy, like I said, electronic products are supposedly even cheaper than North America. So that's if you're planning on buying like a new laptop or a phone, you might want to just hold off on it just for now and buy it from there. It's much cheaper. They're quite popular and they're just as good of a quality as we get here. the sensu fans is very, very cultural. So I think if you really want to tell someone that you've been to Japan without showing off that, just this fan, I think that will do the trick, right? Then you got some amazing chopsticks, sake, tea set, or sneakers. I mean, there's a huge sneaker culture, even in Japan for that matter. So these are like some excellent ideas to bring back as souvenirs or gifts for your loved ones. And that more or less kind of brings me to the end of this session. You could kind of reserve your spot if you haven't done that already, just because we have very limited number of spots. You're not expected to make the full payment right away. You can just reserve it by paying initial deposit of 500, and the remaining of the balance is to be completed by May 23rd. This doesn't look right. I think I'll have to update this. But if you scan this QR code, it should take you to the booking engine that would basically tell you what's the due date like, what's the payment plan like. You can even kind of set up your own installments if you want. Now, if you have any questions or queries, obviously you're more than welcome to reach out to the chamber directly or to me. But this person here, his name is Devinath. He's a guy. So Mr. Devinath Saraswati, he is the tour coordinator for this trip. So he's the one who actually handles the registrical and the administrative aspects of this tour. So if you have any questions or concerns, if you reach out to him directly, chances are that you'll get a faster response because he's on top of things. He handles the administrative parts of things and whatnot. So that would be great. He works from 8:30 until 5, and you can reach him on extension 913. I'm going to leave this on the screen, so in case you wanted to note down the details, you were able to do so. Let me see. Yes, sorry. I do have a message here from Stephanie. Yes, so the full payment due date is March 15th of 2027. So effectively, your full payment is due about 120 days before departure date. So give or take about 4 months. So that should be March. Yeah, that actually makes more sense. So that's all good. Now I'm going to go through the Q&A session. If you have typed down your question, I'll be happy to answer. But generally, we do anticipate what people tend to ask, so we do include those information in the presentation. But in case I have missed something, feel free to type it down. Let me see. Right, I don't see any questions at this point, so I don't know how to feel about that. Maybe I just covered everything, or maybe don't have any questions. I don't know. Okay, I guess if somebody's typing, I'll give it a few more seconds, and just for you to kind of finish the question. Oh, that is a great question. I've got one here which says, if you're traveling by yourself, does Indus match? It's a no and a yes answer. No being because we don't actually do it personally, but I think you may want to reach out to Stephanie because she knows people. They're people from your own community and whatnot. So she might be able to assist you with that. I think if there's somebody else who's traveling solo and that person doesn't mind sharing the room and whatnot, and based on their preferences and whatnot, so they can always double check. And if the other person is fine and you're fine, if you're both fine, then Stephanie would be able to put both of you guys together and whatnot. So yeah, yeah, but we don't do that, right? We don't want to mandate that. We don't want to make you stay with a person that you probably hate, like your wife, for example. Sorry, my bad. It was a bad joke. Okay, so yeah, I don't see any other questions. Again, if you're typing, I'll give it some more time. But if you have any questions, like I'm someone who comes up with questions once I sleep on things. So if that happens, I've left the contact details over there. Feel free to reach out to us later on as well. Okay, one more. On the leisure days, will we be walking distance of everything? Explain how we travel around. So it really depends, right? I mean, so we have, okay, let me show you. We have already given you the list of the hotels that we will be likely to book. So feel free to kind of Google the location of these hotels and whatnot. So a lot of these hotels are fairly centrally located, right? So if you just want to go and grab some food, for example, I'm sure there would be plenty of restaurants around that you can just walk by on your own and just grab some food and come back and whatnot. But let's say if there was a certain place, let's say castle and whatnot, that you wanted to go, unlikely that the hotel is going to be next to it, right? So in which case you can take a cab or even the public transport. Like I said, it's very reliable and very clean and everything. So you can use that as well. If you're planning on going to certain places which is further away from the hotel, and if you know that in advance already, you can kind of speak with the tour guide who's with you before and kind of get their suggestions on what's the best and the fastest way to get from your hotel to that place. If not, even there, the hotel has concierge and everything, right? So they'll be happy to help you out with as well. But basically, when it says leisure, which means you don't have a tour guide with you, then you're on your own in the sense like you either book a cab or you use the public transport. And if you know that, okay, there's like a certain shopping mall that you want to go and buy some things from and whatnot, you can check about that with the tour guide beforehand. Like, hey, I want to go to XYZ shopping mall in the second half of the day. So what do you recommend? How best to get there, right? And maybe get that person to even write things in Japanese, like, hey, this is my name, this is my hotel. So if you want to cab, you can be like, hey, take me here. Plus Google Translate, I think, again, I don't think it's 100% accurate, but it's not that bad either. So you can always use that, right, for translation to get from point A to point B. So yeah. Oh, another really good question. So one question is, can you upgrade the room at the hotels? Yes, we can. So if you already know that, if you, let's say if you prefer higher floors or you want like a garden view, for example, and whatnot, and you have those preferences, the sooner you book yourself, the easier it is, because the later you do it, and if that room is not available, then I guess you're just stuck with whatever they have available, right? So if you have preferences like that, just book yourself sooner and make a note when you do register yourself that, hey, I want like a room which is the corner room, or I want a higher floor, I want a view, and whatnot. So we can block it for you in advance. So yes, you can do that. In case there was any surcharge or there was like an added expense for that, we will let you know, right? So once we let the hotel know that, hey, this is the room that we want, if there's any surcharge, they'll let us know and we'll pass on that information to you. But the short answer is yes, you are able to upgrade the rooms at the hotel. And the same for your airfare as well. Uh, the airfare that I have mentioned here in the presentation, that's for economy class. So if you wanted to upgrade yourself to a business class or first class or anything, right? Yes, we'll be able to do that. Even for that, we will need the person to be registered in the system, because we'll have to send these details to the airline. Like, hey, I've got this traveler, they'll be traveling on this and so-and-so date from Atlanta to Tokyo, and they wanted to upgrade to a business class or first class. So the airline does not allow us to block space. So they will advise us what the rate would be for the upgrade. We'll pass on that information to you. And generally, they would allow us to hold that rate anywhere between 4 hours to 48 hours. So you have the time frame to do your own research if you wanted to. And if you're good to go and ready to book it, just call back Davinath and with your credit card information. So he'll grab the details and he'll book the upgraded flight ticket immediately, right then and there. So it's going to be taken care of. So yes, we can upgrade the flights as well. Right. One more question. How do we find out about additional excursions, not apart from the itinerary? So there will be a flyer that should mention, let me see, actually, maybe I can share that with you on my screen. And if you don't have access to that, again, just let Stephanie know, because we can email that to you. And that would actually tell you all of the optional excursions that you can choose from. If there is a certain activity that you don't see on the flyer, but you know that it happens there, uh, just again, reach out to us. We can make things happen. Like I said, we can definitely do that. So I don't see any optional. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to share my screen so you can see the flyer as well. Yeah, in the flyer, I don't see any optional excursions being mentioned, but if you have any specific excursions that you would like to do, just please reach out to us. Email Davina. Just mention that you're calling in regards to the Japan trip in July with the Conyers Rockdale Chamber of Commerce, and let's say I want to see like a sumo wrestling match while I'm there, right? Can you arrange for that and whatnot? And yes, we will be able to take care of it. So yes, you're right. I don't see a lot of the optional or any optional excursions being mentioned here. If there is a specific city or a town or the day on which you're looking for options or suggestions, please mention it and I will get that checked out and get that email to you. Okay. Uh, Another question is, what are the acceptable credit cards? So anything except American Express. I'm sorry, unfortunately. I know, I mean, American Express has like some really great point system and whatnot, but the surcharge that they charge us, it's almost like 4.5 to 5% or something. That's just expensive. So I believe we don't accept American Express. Anything apart from that is going to be fine. Like, Visa card, MasterCard, debit card, Apple Pay, GPay. We don't accept crypto just yet. Sorry. But yeah, no, any credit card would be fine. Just Visa, MasterCard would be ideal. Yeah. Okay, another question is what airline do you use? We haven't booked actually the actual flights because we don't have the details, right? We don't know how many people are signing up for the trip. And when we do book the flights, we actually have to give them the exact names of the travelers based on the passport and whatnot. So we only do that once we have the final numbers and whatnot. And once we have that, and once we actually book the flights, we will share the details with you. But usually there should be, I believe, like a domestic flight, let's say from Atlanta to somewhere on the West Coast, let's say, for example, LA. It could be Delta or American or anything. And from there, it could be, again, Air Nippon, for example, ANA. But if you want tentative flights in the sense like we're not confirming that this would be the flight, but if you need the flight information that we have used historically speaking, I can have that arranged. I can have Devinat check it out for you and email it to you. But just know that this is just all tentative, right? I mean, like I said, we don't actually book it unless we have the final numbers. But yeah. Okay, another question is, would one carry-on bag and a tote bag considered free of charge? Yeah, yeah, definitely. So I think this is like a fairly understood international norm, I would say, where you can have like a one big check-in bag. So that's your check-in bag. Then you have a carry-on bag, which is, let's say, 15 pounds or 10 pounds or whatever that is and whatnot, right? And then I think a lot of the women are allowed to have a carry-on bag, like a big purse, right? Where you can have like your laptop and your makeup or whatever you need and whatnot. And for guys, I think a lot of the people are able to carry like a laptop bag, which I actually carry a lot of times that I'm traveling, where I have my laptop and my book and my, whatever hard disks and stuff like that. So yeah, that's not counted as a part of your baggage per se. So long as it's not like oversized and it's not stuffed, and so long as you're able to kind of fit that into that overhead compartment that they have. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. Right. One more question. Yeah, just about the airline, right? I mean, which airlines we use. Yeah, I'm not sure if we use Delta, or I don't think we have a preference per se. It really depends on what sort of the timing and the pricing and everything. It's as long as it's within that acceptable range is how we book it. Like we also want to make sure that there's not like really long layover, like 18 hours or something, obviously. So it really depends on what's available at the time. Yeah, I'm not really sure if there's a specific airline that we use or do not use. Either way, in both cases, yeah, it just all depends on what's available. This is another great question. The question is, while shopping, would it be better to use a credit card or just use the Japanese currency? Credit card would be preferred, and this is just my personal suggestion. Okay, this is not coming from the government, for example. I just personally prefer a credit card because I don't want to carry a lot of cash. It's just that I get conscious and I want to make sure that, oh, it's still there and whatnot. I just get distracted by cash in general. So I personally just always use the credit card. And again, a lot of the places that you're most likely going to be shopping from, let's say Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, all of these are like major cities. So all of the shops over there, they do have, those machines that you can use your credit card in and whatnot. However, when you go to like relatively smaller towns like Kanazawa, for example, and whatnot, and you really see something that you like that you want to get for yourself or something, that is another story altogether. They may or may not have the machines available. Most people do. We have done plenty of trips to Japan. I haven't had any complaints per se in terms of like, oh, I wanted to buy something, but I didn't have cash and I couldn't. So most places do accept credit card, but I would personally recommend just keep some Japanese currency for emergency anyway. And the last option is always the hotels, right? I mean, they are also able to help in exchanging money and whatnot. Again, their exchange rates are not going to be the best in town. So I personally don't prefer doing that. I don't think I ever did that so far. I never exchange money at the airport and the hotel because these two places has the worst exchange rates. So usually I would wait until I get in town and then use a bank or use my ATM and withdraw cash from an ATM and whatnot. So that's what I do. And once you get there, you have a sense of like how much you might be buying things off. Then you can just take that out in one go and just be done with it, right? So, but yeah, credit card really helps, right? I mean, the bank exchange rate is really not that bad. Uh, yeah, I would use my credit card if I were you. Right. The next question is, how much Japanese currency would you suggest we get exchanged? It honestly, it really depends on what you're planning on spending it on. Like if you're planning on having, your dinners every day in like a Michelin star restaurant, then you probably want to exchange like at least a couple of $1,000s or something, right? But a mid-range restaurant, for example, you can pay with a credit card and whatnot. If you're planning on doing like a lot of shopping, couple of electronics and like a few drinks and all of that, then again, it really depends. But here's what I do, okay? I'm not a big shopper, but I do buy things, just so you know. So generally what I do is I would exchange, let's say about $500. This is what I do, okay? This is just my own personal experience that I'm sharing. I would exchange like anywhere between $300 to $500, right? And then I use that for exchanges, and even for tipping, right? When I go to restaurants, I want to tip. They generally appreciate local currency and whatnot. So I would tip them in their local currency and whatnot. Then I will try and use my credit card as much as I can. And if I'm left with any currency, then either I would exchange it back to dollars or I'll just keep it. Like, if I know that I'm going to be probably visiting this country again, like in Europe, for example, if I have euros, I'll just keep it because I know I'll probably go again. So it really depends. But maybe you can start off with like a few $100s, right? Maybe $300, $400 and see how it goes. And then after a couple of days, you'll get a sense of like how much you're spending in cash in Japanese currency. And then based on that, you can have like one more transaction, or maybe you're just done for your trip. Right. The next question is, are there vendors that sell Japanese textiles in the market? Yes, definitely. So you'll find a lot of these vendors, especially in that market that I mentioned. And again, Tokyo and Osaka, these two places would have a lot of those shops that you can get the Japanese textiles in the market. And again, if you're looking for something specific, like if you're planning on buying one of those traditional clothing and whatnot. And again, the local tour guide would be your best friend for those 12 days. So check with that person as to what's the best place to buy a certain item that you're looking for, because it might be like, hey, this is actually more popular or you get better quality stuff in Osaka compared to Tokyo, or vice versa, and whatnot, right? So the local person actually knows a lot more than you or I ever will, right? So if you have something specific in your mind, just maybe talk about that with the tour guide and see what they have to suggest, and yeah, go from there. The actual fabrics, yeah, no, for sure, for sure. They do have it in the market, definitely. But which market? Again, the local tour guide would be a better person to assist with that than me right now. But they do have it for sure. Right. Any further questions? Interesting. Yes, one more. Are there things that you cannot bring back through customs? Apart from sake, I don't think so. Like electronics, I think you're able to bring it back, but again, you don't want to overdo it. So you don't want to buy like 10 iPhones from there or something, right? I think there's a limit of like two or maximum three phones that you can buy. Uh, just between you and me, like you can also like unbox the phone so it looks like it's not a new phone, and you can still pass it off as like your work phone, for example, and still be able to bring it. But yeah, you don't want to overdo it. Like you don't want to bring like five iPhones and three laptops, and just don't go overboard. That's when you attract customs and whatnot. Drinks, I believe you are allowed to bring like two standard bottles, about a liter each. So let's say 2 liters from your international travel, tobacco, and all of those things. But as far as your fabrics, for example, if you're bringing fabrics, chopsticks, and you know, things like that. No, no, I don't think, no, there's no restrictions or anything at all. Again, assuming that you're not going overboard, you're not buying like 1,000 chopsticks or something, which makes it look like, oh, you're planning on selling it once you get back to the US or something. So as long as it doesn't look anything fishy like that, there's no restrictions apart from the alcohol. So you'll be fine. All right. These are like some really, really nice questions. I'm really happy about this. Seems like you have very specific ideas about this trip. So I'm really happy to see that. That's perfect. Right. I don't know if you are. No, one more question. Okay, great. What's the best thing about Japan that you like? The Look, I'm a guy, okay? I'm gonna be a stereotypical over here. So I'm into electronics in the sense like I would buy like PlayStation. Like the next Japan trip that I'm doing, I'm buying a PlayStation. So it's mostly electronics because I know the quality is top notch. The pricing is excellent, better than what I get here. So that's what I would do. Plus, I'm a nature lover. So okay, I do shop like a little bit, but I'm not like crazy about that, right? So I'll probably the hikes, the mountains, the rivers, things like that. That's my go-to thing, the nature. So that's what I would go for. Okay, okay. Unless there are any more questions, I would wrap up the session. And yeah, you know what? Sorry, I'm going to bring back the slide in case you haven't noted down the contact information of my colleague. If you come up with any questions, like I said, he would be your best bet. He can find out if there's any certain excursions that you wanted to do. He will be able to assist you with that. Oops. Well, there you go. Okay. So yeah, feel free to scan the QR code and register yourself. Like I said, you don't have to make the full payment right away, but at least once you register yourself, it would be much faster and easier for you to to cater to any requests that you have from your end, like be it excursions or an upgrade and things like that. So please go ahead and register. And yeah, that brings me to the end of the session. I'm going to stop recording.